What up, people? I just got done rewatching the Nintendo Direct, and I honestly feel like it was easily one of the best ones I've seen in a really long time. Whether it was RPGs, platformers, visual novels, or Hello Kitty, there were so many different games and genres showcased that I feel like everyone went away with some games they were excited about. And thanks to this Direct, the rest of 2024 is pretty stacked with titles coming to Nintendo, and because of all those amazing games slated for the Switch, I'm going to talk about some of the ones that I'm personally really looking forward to, and hopefully you're looking forward to as well. But real quick, if you're new to the channel, I make videos on single player games, and while I typically focus on RPGs, I do cover other genres as well. If that type of content interests you and you end up enjoying the video, consider subscribing or just hitting the like button to help spread this video around. Now, let's get started. The first game I want to talk about is my favorite announcement from the recent Nintendo Direct, and that's The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. It's hard to put into words how much of a fan I was of the remake of Link's Awakening. That art style is up there with some of the best I've ever seen. It really feels like you're playing through a 15-hour playthrough with your toys. I like the art style so much I even bought the amiibo, and I don't even like amiibos like that. I never would have guessed we would be getting another game with that art style, but I'm really glad we are. I also wasn't expecting to play as Zelda, so that's a nice surprise, plus we also got gameplay. Instead of a sword and shield, Zelda will be using a staff that lets her copy and use objects, and also enemies to fight, explore, and solve puzzles. This game really seems like it's leaning into the Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom style, of just allowing players to use this echo ability to figure things out in their own way, and I love that. I've said many times on this channel that exploration is one of, if not my favorite things in games, and I really hope that this game makes that a high priority. But anyway, The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom is releasing September 26th, and this has become the game I'm looking forward to the most for the remainder of the year, across all consoles. Next we have Mario and Luigi Brothership. I never actually played any of the Mario Luigi games before. I was going to buy some for my 3DS before the eShop closed, but by that time I had already spent around like $300 on games and I couldn't justify spending any more. By the way, I made a couple of videos on some must-buy games for the 3DS if you're still out there looking, just let you know. When I was watching the Nintendo Direct, a Mario Luigi game wasn't even on my radar, but it ended up being one of the games I'm looking forward to the most. I'm a big fan of turn-based RPGs, so I'm always down to play another one, especially one that prioritizes silliness. Also, I love the art style, and I really like how expressive Mario and Luigi look in cutscenes, and also their animations during combat. There's this Looney Tunes 90s cartoon vibe the game has that I very much appreciate. With the number of games I currently have in my backlog, there are very few games I would say are day one buys for me this year, but this, Zelda, and one other game on this list are some of the very few. Sticking with Mario for a second, I wanted to briefly talk about Luigi Mansion 2 HD that's coming out on June 27. I've been wanting to get into Luigi's Mansion for a while, but I wasn't really sure which game to start with. I was going to buy one of the 3DS ones, but I never could find a good deal physically, and as far as 3 goes, I kinda just forgot it existed. So maybe I'll start with the new HD one, and then if I like it, I'll try out 3. But yeah, anyway, like I said, it'll be dropping on June 27th. Next is a game that I know a lot of RPG fans were waiting for, and that's the remakes of the first 3 Dragon Quest games. They're getting the HD 2D coat of paint that you're used to seeing by now with Octopath Traveler, Eiyuden Chronicles, Triangle Strategy, etc. I'm a major fan of this art style, and I'm really glad it's being used so often, especially with RPGs. My only experience with Dragon Quest up to this point is playing a lot of 11, and I only got Believe Dragon Quest 8 on my 3DS. However, even with that small bit of time with the franchise, I still become a huge fan, and a lot of that is due to the monster designs. I personally think Dragon Quest has some of the best monster designs of any RPG I could think of, and it'll be cool to see them in these 3 games that started everything off. Speaking of starting it off, I heard that the older Dragon Quest trilogy has some really good stories. Is that true? If you're a Dragon Quest fan, let me know. It's funny that the story of the trilogy starts with the 3rd one, but I will 100% be picking it up sometime this year, but probably not when it releases on November 14th. Just like the Mario and Luigi series, I've never played a Saga game before. I was somewhat looking forward to Saga Emerald Beyond, but after playing some of the demo, it just didn't really vibe with me. However, it's something about romancing Saga 2 that just grabbed me, especially after seeing a second trailer on the game's official Steam page. I think maybe the fantasy aspect is a lot more appealing to me than whatever Saga Emerald was doing. The focus on formations and battles seem interesting, and I'm also a huge fan of choice-based games, so I hope that the choices actually matter and impact the story. I've been bored way too many times in that area. But with all that said, a part of me really wants to get this day one, but I have to see what else is coming out in October. We'll see. Speaking of choice-based games, I'm really looking forward to Life is Strange Double Exposure. Now, when I looked at the trailer online, it didn't show the Nintendo Switch logo at the end. It just showed PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. However, when I went to the Square Enix website, it shows that it's at least coming out physically for the Switch. I'm assuming it's gonna come out digitally as well, but who knows. While a lot of people aren't the biggest fans of the first Life is Strange because of the dialogue, after a while I kinda got used to it and honestly became a little charming in a way, to me at least. And seeing the return of Max from the first game is cool, and I like that she has some stronger and improved powers as well. Life is Strange True Colors is easily my favorite of the three, and probably the one I'd personally recommend to people who are new to the franchise because I feel the small time vibes of the game really helps amplify the murder mystery that you're tasked to solve. But I digress. If you're a fan of choice-based games like me, maybe keep this game on your radar. Briefly moving over to platformers, I quickly want to talk about Sonic X Shadows Generations. After playing the original Sonic Generations, it easily became my favorite Sonic game ever. While I'm one of those weirdos who prefers 3D Sonic over 2D, Generations essentially giving you the best of both worlds in a singular package was really fun to play through. Now for what I understand, this is pretty much going to be the old Sonic Generations with updated graphics and then a whole new Shadow campaign on the side. And while it'll most likely be the exact same game, it would be great if they added some extra levels to Generations while they're at it. Oh, and bring back the Child Garden as well. Looking through the website, it says the Shadow campaign will feature an open world similar to that of Sonic Frontiers. Now, I own Sonic Frontiers, but after playing the first level, it kind of felt stiff and slow. It's hard to explain, but I'll probably give it another chance someday. I'm a huge fan of platformers like Kirby, Mario, and Crash Bandicoot, and obviously Sonic, so I'm really excited for this to drop on what I believe is October 25th. Next is a game that wasn't at the Nintendo Direct, and that's East 10 Nordics. Technically this is already out, but its North America release is coming out the fall of this year. I know nothing about this franchise before I saw the 44-second announcement trailer, and after I saw it, all I thought was, this game looks cool as hell. It was super flashy and the combat looked fun and everything looked colorful, and the music in the trailer was also really good. I was almost gonna buy East 8 because that's what a lot of people recommended newcomers start with, but I eventually decided to just start with the newest one since I heard I won't miss much story-wise. After playing Final Fantasy Rebirth for over 2 months earlier this year, I needed a little break from fast-paced action RPGs. Thankfully, by the time this comes out, I should be ready to go again. Last game I want to talk about is a game you might not know is coming out, and that's Steamworld Heist 2. If you've seen content from me before, you may have heard me talk about the first Steamworld Heist game before, most likely in one of my Hidden Gems videos for the Nintendo Switch. Steamworld Heist is one of my favorite indie games ever, and I'm so happy it's getting another game. Compared to the first Steamworld Heist, this one seems to be leaning a lot more into the RPG aspect, which I'm obviously a fan of. Things like special ability, job classes, and character builds will all be in this game, and it'll be fun to see how much they impact the strategies going into missions. Outside of the newly announced Zelda game, this is easily the game I'm looking forward to the most. Not only did the original Steamworld Heist get me into strategy games like Fire Emblem, it was one of the few games early on that made me really appreciate what indies had to offer. Never in my wildest dreams that I think we'll be getting a sequel to this game, but since we are, this will be a day one purchase when it releases on August 8th. With this being more than likely the last year before the next Nintendo Switch is released, it's really impressive how Nintendo's going out with a bang. They could have easily just put out nothing but remakes and most people would have been happy, but seeing them also prioritize new games so late in the Switch's life cycle is something I really appreciate. But I really want to hear from you guys. What games are you looking forward to the rest of the year on the Switch? Did you enjoy the Nintendo Direct? Are you buying Hello Kitty Island Adventure? Let me know in the comments. If you want to see more Nintendo content from me, click the playlist on the screen. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up with the channel. Later.